Remember the beginning, the stolen glances, the endless conversations, the feeling that you'd found your other half. The world seemed to align, and every shared moment was a testament to a love that felt invincible. But then, for something shifts. The laughter fades, replaced by quiet resentment. The stolen glances become averted eyes. The adoration morphs into irritation, and eventually, a chilling indifference. Or even worse, a profound sense of dislike. It's a painful, confusing transformation, leaving both partners bewildered and hurt. How does affection, once so vibrant, curdled into something so starkly different? This isn't a simple question with a simple answer. It's a complex psychological and relational phenomenon. Why do men who once adored their partners sometimes develop feelings of resentment towards their girlfriends? This isn't about malice or a sudden change of heart. It's often a gradual, insidious process, a slow erosion of positive feelings rather than an abrupt, dramatic shift. Today, we're going to unpack the intricate layers of this emotional landscape, exploring the subtle forces that can transform love into something unrecognizable. At the genesis of most relationships lies a powerful force: idealization. During the intoxicating initial stages, we naturally tend to project an image of perfection onto our partners. Infatuation paints them in the most flattering light, creating an idealized version that embodies all our hopes and desires. We see what we want to see, often overlooking flaws or incompatibilities in the glow of new love. This is a natural, almost necessary part of falling in love, a psychological mechanism that helps forge initial bonds. However, as the relationship progresses and the initial haze of infatuation dissipates, this idealized perception inevitably clashes with the partner's actual self. The person we fell in love with is, after all, a complex human being with their own quirks, habits, and imperfections. This discrepancy between the imagined and the real can lead to profound disappointment when a man's expectations, whether conscious or unconscious, about his partner's role, behavior, or personality are not met. This unmet expectation can fester. It's crucial to understand that this isn't necessarily about the partner changing. Often, it's about the man's perception evolving from an unrealistic ideal to a more grounded, yet potentially disappointing, reality. This gap, if unaddressed, becomes fertile ground for resentment to take root. Resentment is a particularly insidious force in relationships. It's an emotional response to a perceived injustice, a slow-burning anger and bitterness that accumulates over time. It rarely erupts suddenly. Instead, it often stems from a series of unaddressed issues, unmet needs, or perceived slights that allow to fester. Each small grievance, each unspoken disappointment, adds another drop to a slowly overflowing cup. This gradual accumulation can systematically erode positive feelings, turning affection into irritation, and eventually a deep-seated aversion. Hand in hand with resentment often comes emotional withdrawal, sometimes referred to as stonewalling. This is a common coping mechanism, particularly among men, and it's a significant predictor of relationship distress. Men may withdraw for several complex reasons. Many men are conditioned to be problem solvers, to be the hero. When they struggle with emotional communication, and their attempts to fix rather than listen are met with continued dissatisfaction, it can lead to deep frustration and a sense of failure, prompting them to pull away. The paralyzing feeling of not being enough, of constantly failing to meet expectations, can be profoundly shaming. This shame can lead to emotional retreat as a way to protect a fragile sense of self. The intensity of a partner's emotions can also be overwhelming. For some men, this triggers a fight-or-flight response, leading them to shut down. Societal conditioning also teaches men to repress emotions, to be stoic. This makes it incredibly difficult for them to identify and express feelings other than anger. When confronted with emotional discussions, this can lead to defensiveness and withdrawal, further fueling the cycle of misunderstanding and resentment. Another significant factor contributing to the breakdown of affection is the subtle, often unconscious, desire for control. Some men enter relationships with implicit assumptions about how their partner should behave, what their role should be, or how the relationship should unfold. When they realize they cannot exert this level of control over another autonomous individual, it can lead to profound frustration and resentment. This is often rooted in a misunderstanding of healthy relationship dynamics, where mutual respect, autonomy, and shared decision-making are paramount. At the heart of many failing relationships lies a critical breakdown in communication. When partners feel unheard, misunderstood, or that their concerns are consistently dismissed, resentment, the inability or unwillingness to address conflicts openly, honestly, and constructively allows negative feelings to fester and grow, creating a chasm of unspoken grievances that widens with each passing day. The silence, in these cases, is deafening, filled with unaddressed pain. Furthermore, the consistent crossing of boundaries or a pervasive feeling of being taken for granted can breed deep resentment. When one partner feels their efforts are not recognized or valued, or their personal limits are repeatedly ignored, it signals a fundamental lack of respect. This erosion of respect can easily morph into negative feelings, as the man perceives his partner as disregarding his needs, his space, or his contributions to the relationship. Beyond the internal dynamics of the relationship, external pressures and internal conflicts also play a significant role. Societal expectations of masculinity, for instance, can create immense pressure on men to be strong, stoic, and self-sufficient. This can make it incredibly difficult for them to express vulnerability, emotional needs, or insecurities within a relationship, leading to internal conflict that often manifests as resentment towards the partner. The pressure to provide or be strong can become an emotional burden, and if the partner is perceived as adding to this burden, negative feelings can arise. Another powerful internal conflict is what we might call the good guy trap. This is the phenomenon where men might stay in relationships they are deeply unhappy with, not out of love, but out of fear. Fear of being seen as the bad guy if they leave. Fear of judgment from friends, family, or society, or fear of causing pain to their partner. This internal struggle between personal unhappiness and external perception can lead to suppressed anger and resentment, often directed at the partner for the perceived trap they are in. Other factors, such as financial ties, feelings of guilt, or simply emotional laziness, the avoidance of the difficult work of ending a relationship, can also contribute to staying in an unfulfilling situation, silently fueling underlying negative emotions until they consume what little affection remains. When hatred or deep resentment takes root, the consequences for the relationship are devastating. There is a severe erosion of intimacy and connection. The emotional distance grows, becoming a vast, unbridgeable canyon. Physical touch, once a source of comfort and passion, becomes rare, forced, or entirely absent. Genuine connection vanishes, leaving behind a profound void where shared vulnerability and understanding once thrived. The relationship becomes a hollow shell, devoid of the very elements that define it. This festering resentment often manifests as increased conflict and hostility. Every minor disagreement can escalate into a full-blown argument. Passive-aggressive behaviors become common, and criticism, once rare, becomes a constant companion. The atmosphere becomes toxic, filled with tension and negativity, making it an unbearable environment for both partners. The relationship, once a source of joy, transforms into a battleground where peace is fleeting and genuine affection is a distant memory. The journey from affection to aversion is rarely simple or linear. It is a winding path paved with unspoken words, unaddressed grievances, and the slow, painful erosion of what once was. It is shaped by unmet expectations, the silent poison of resentment, the protective walls of emotional withdrawal, and the complex interplay of control, communication, and societal pressures. Understanding this intricate emotional landscape is not about assigning blame, but about recognizing the profound and intricate ways human relationships can falter. It is about acknowledging the confusion and hurt left in its wake, and grappling with the profound question of how love, once so bright, can turn into something so starkly different. It is a testament to the fragility of human connection and the silent battles fought within the confines of a relationship.